On this episode of Inner Voice.
And you would think that we'd have nothing in common. And I just finished reading your book and we literally have everything in common. Our lives have looked the same in so many ways.
You know, the title of the book and the podcast, Black Fat Femme, to many people, that there's 3 reasons why you should hate yourself. To them.
Can you cuss here? I don't know if you allow folks to cuss.
Fuck yeah.
Okay. I just want to make sure.
Decided and literally written down in his will who would be freed and who wouldn't be.
Wow.
In his, the human beings that he owned.
The ways, when you ask the question, like, how do I keep going? How do I keep doing? It's knowing and understanding that oppressive systems want you to stop.
When I tell you, are we on?
No, but you can go ahead for 30 seconds. You can ramble for 30 seconds.
No, I'm not rambling. I just started the episode. This is it.
Oh.
We did it.
Start over.
Should I? No, you want to keep it casual. You want to keep it fun.
Well, my audio's not.
My
audio is now recording. But let's keep the Zoom audio because it's funny. So now my mic is in. Now I'm dropped and now I'm present. Continue.
We're professional. We're representing professionals.
The ladies everywhere. Yeah. Working women.
The theme for today is representation, and OMG, the interview. You got to stick around because it made me cry. I cried at least twice in the interview, which in my book makes it good. When we can have a nice heart-to-heart, we can have emotion with someone we love and someone we thoroughly respect. It's beautiful. So we'll talk to Dr. Jon a little bit later. In the meantime, it's like AMC theaters. This is Inner Voice.
Yeah. Nicole
somehow
Kidman.
Heartbreak feels good.
In a place like that, we just did the same thing.
How did our minds? We're so psychic.
Because
we're connected.
Nicole's the only reason I'm a Stubbs member. I only have my Stubbs card because I'm Nicole. Yeah.
I mean, I was just sitting there, not Stubbs. And then that video came on and I was like, take my money, please.
Take my money. Yeah. Take what's
Let me
left
get
of
my
it.
large popcorn and also my refill at the same time. Just give me both. So this is Inner Voice. I'm trying desperately to give my speech. This is Inner Voice. I'm Jeffrey Marsh. I have 25 years experience with Zen Buddhism and also 2 best-selling books. Oprah liked my first book. What can we do? What can we do? It happens. It happens. And I am here to help you place that nasty, gnarly, trash inner voice with kindness, love, belonging. I'm going to teach you, train you, help you to find love in your life. And I have my viral moments, my reminders for everyone in just a moment. But Zach, how are you feeling?
I'm really good. That interview was really important to me. To everybody. I really love getting to listen.
No, we should mention it's out of order for us.
Well, but I think they know that. But maybe this is someone's first episode. If this is someone's first episode, they don't know that we do the interviews first, and then we build the episode around it because then we can do the rest informed by how well the interview was, or we can keep the emotions that we're feeling because we're intelligente. Yeah, I'm deeply moved, deeply affected by the level of intelligence that our guest has.
Oh my gosh,
Dr. Jon Paul
brilliance,
Higgins.
I would say.
Oh, it's just brilliance and just such a cadence to their voice, which is so it drives the point home so naturally. How few people of that intelligence level do you think are able to actually explain stuff in a way that is for the masses?
Accessible.
Right.
Very few. I mean,
Right.
that combination is extremely rare.
I don't think it exists.
Well, me as well. I mean, obviously.
Oh yeah, no, I know. No, but anyway, I just really resonated with it, and I think it's exactly what I needed to hear today.
Yeah.
So I feel good now, regardless. Of how I felt
nobody's
before.
on Dr. Jon level, and when you hear the interview, when you hear the interview, you'll be glad to be alive. So your reminders for today representation isn't a luxury for many marginalized groups, and we'll talk about this with Dr. Jon. For many marginalized groups of folks, it is survival. You can't be it unless you can see it. And so having people that are like you and have not just accomplished a lot, but who are showing their true selves and loving their true selves, really valuable. You can't become what you never see. Visibility equals possibility. I remember growing up and it was Christine Jorgensen's book. I found one at a thrift store. It was David Bowie on TV. It was, as far as trans and non-binary people, I'm really grateful for the folks that are around now. Representation without transformation can become a kind of just tokenism. And what I mean by that is sometimes people in marginalized groups can be used by the dominant culture without being compensated, respected, without the other stuff that should come with it. And being seen, this is if you are an influencer, if you're an author, being seen doesn't always equal being safe. And being invisible has never protected anybody either. So as you find that balance for yourself, we don't shrink, we don't hide, and we also keep ourselves safe. We also come back to our own heart and keep ourselves within our own hearts. So you have a little intro for Dr. Jon, don't you? And I get to sit and bask in the brilliance of the intro.
You get to sit in the brilliance of my tongue tie, because I make a few mistakes, but we're human. We celebrate humanity.
It keeps
on the
it fresh. Keeps it fresh.
And let's launch right in, shall we? Today's guest is the brilliant Dr. Jonathan P. Higgins, an educator, speaker, and media critic whose work centers Black queer voices with unapologetic power and clarity. With a doctorate in educational justice and a viral presence that blends fierce truth-telling with heart, Dr. Higgins has become a viral voice in conversations around race, gender, and liberation. You may know them from their writing, their speaking, or their social media mic drops, but today you'll get to hear the full spectrum of their insight, humor, and vision for a more just world. Let's welcome Dr. Higgins to Inner Voice.
Yay!
Hello there.
I always feel like I feel like a Muppet. I want to scream.
You know what? Do that. This is the place to be a Muppet
time.
And to scream as loud as you need to scream, because we're all screaming.
Flail around. Well, that was going to be my first question, and you sort of already answered. How are you feeling today?
How am I feeling today? Today is one of those days where, I had to, today's one of those days you just got to figure it out. Those days where, you spend too many days kind of reeling around an idea or a concept. And so today is kind of the ideation of that. It's like, okay, girl, you got to sit down and you got to figure it out. And so that's where my headspace has been since this morning. I've just been waking up and I woke up, ate my breakfast, and, kind of start putting a plan together for some stuff that's coming down the pipeline. That's kind of where I'm at.
Well, this is what I love about you, because in the midst of it all, we still get down to our plan.
Mm-hmm.
We still stay on track. We still the focus of the vision. And that's particularly what I wanted to ask you about today. How do we keep that vision in the midst of everything that's going on around us?
Yeah. I think it's the thing is, I try to tell listeners, folks who follow me, folks who know me, that I don't have it all figured out. And even though it may look like to some folks that I do, right? I constantly see folks being like, you're winning and you're doing this and you're doing that. And it's like, yes, I'm constantly trying to do and constantly trying to move in a system that is constantly trying to kind of keep me, I don't know. I'm a person of a particular age, so Frogger is the thing that I think about, right? This idea of constantly having, right, to having to
Yeah.
jump back and forth between things. And one of the things that I've been telling myself is that the ways, when you ask the question like how do I keep going, how do I keep doing, it's knowing and understanding that oppressive systems want you to stop.
Mm.
They want you to fold, they want you to feel as if there is no other opportunity, right? So I guess kind of a transparent thing, like, right. So I currently have, and I'm probably saying way too much on the air, but who cares? We're here, transparent, right?
We love it.
I currently have a role that I feel like I have outgrown with one of my jobs, one of the many jobs that I have. And there was a part of me that was sitting in this notion as like a creative, oh, there's nothing in the industry for me. The industry is so terrible and blah, blah, blah. And there are all of these feelings and emotions that I had around that. And I was thinking to myself that, as we're watching the industry kind of stop giving folks like us opportunity, right? Whether it's writing, whether it's creating, whether it's, an opportunity in front of the camera, behind the camera, right? That is intentional. It's to make us feel like we are invisible and that we're not seen and that our talent is not important to the industry. Okay. So there was a part of me that was sitting with that for a few days where I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do that I can't fully shift? And something said, girl, lean back on that education you have. And I had to remind myself of like what I've done and what I've been doing. And so now I'm getting ready to start kind of leaning back on my doctorate degree and all these other things. And so I say all of that to say, I think the reality of what I'm really trying to get at is how do you keep moving forward? It's to remember, can you cuss here? I don't know if you allow folks to cuss.
Fuck yeah, do it.
Okay. I just want to make sure I before I do, it's to remember who the fuck you are, right? That's how
Mm.
you move forward. That's how, like the reality is like, yeah, they may be doing that over there, but me focusing on me over here is what's going to keep me moving forward. And so it's to constantly remind queer people that we've been here before this mess and we're going to be here after this mess. And that's the thing we have to lean on to keep going forward.
That's that's what makes you a hero slash heroine to me. You're a queer leader and you inspire me. Well, I'll tell you a funny story. My nails are done mostly because of you and your videos.
Really?
Yes. I had not I'm a middle-aged person now, and I had not gone to the nail tech and gotten my nails done just out of feeling like I didn't deserve and was a little scared of that space and didn't know how to navigate. And then for years I kept seeing your videos and the nails were absolutely on point. And I was like, it's time. I have to do what Dr. John does.
At the nail shop. Girl,
I know.
so
Well, every
expensive.
2-3 weeks. I know. I know. I know. But I bring it up, yes, to prove your point. We have to remember who we are and we have to give ourselves symbols of who we are. Okay, everyone needs to stop listening to the podcast and go read Black Fat Femme immediately. F my podcast at this point. Go read it. I'm going to quote you to yourself. The chapter, so for those that may not know you, absolute mega hit runaway podcast, Black Fat Femme. The book, also a hit, is utterly brilliant. And I was afraid to choose the theme representation in big quotes for this episode with you because you are much more than what you're representing in the media. But also, there's nobody I'd rather talk to about what this year has been like, what this time has been like. Okay, so we'll get to the book quote in a second, but first, what was your experience releasing this book now?
Yeah, I think for me, so I'll be transparent in saying I was really nervous
Mm.
when the thought of this book was coming out, So I guess let me back up. So when we were talking about the book, right? I was, the book was coming out and I was doing I was in it, I was writing, we were coming up with concepts and all these things. I was truly excited. I was very excited. Like finally there's a book that I feel like that's coming out that represents me. And then that man gets elected. And then I start noticing and seeing all the things that they're doing. And I was like, okay, folks are going to do whatever they can to keep this book out of people's hands. And so I was worried. There was part of me that was worried about the book ban, but then there was also part of me that was like, if it does get banned, then yay, right? Then now we have a reason to, we have something we can kind of stand on. So that kind of came and went, right? But I think the ultimate fear was going to be that folks were going to figure out ways to try to keep this book out of people's hands and out of people's faces. And it was the complete opposite. I was getting tapped, I was getting emailed, I was getting message. I still get messages of people who have said, I'm only into chapter 1 and I can't stop crying. I finished the book and I'm rereading it. I bought myself a copy. I've told my mom to, like, literally a friend hit me and said, I read this book once, I'm rereading it, and I'm literally getting a copy from my mom so she can read it too. And it is just I wouldn't even say fanfare, but I just think that there's a part of and this as a writer, right? You want to be on folks' lists. You want to be known as, best-selling author and all these different things. But I think the real joy that has come out of it is people who have said, one, thank you for writing a book that really has centered me and my journey and my experience and has made me feel as if I have a voice in a world where I'm constantly feeling voiceless. And then there's the flip, which is something I didn't expect at all. There are people, I always tell the story. Well, I was telling the story when I was doing, when I was on the book tour. There was a woman who had hit me on LinkedIn and she said, hey, I've been following you forever. Really happy to see that your book has come out. I just finished reading it and I just want to say we have nothing in common, but we have everything in common. And that was probably the best thing that I could ever get from someone, right? She's like, I'm a cishet white woman who lives in middle America. I have 2 white kids, I have picket fence. I have all the things that, would make me a quintessential American. And you would think that we have nothing in common. And I just finished reading your book and we literally have everything in common. Our lives have looked the same in so many ways. And so it makes me feel like that thing I was scared to do, I did it, and it's being received, and it's a really beautiful feeling.
Well, I have cried reading it, can verify, and I'm on my second read right now. And you do representation for the highest good. It's really why I was magnetized to talk to you today, in the sense that it is pure representation of Black fat femme, but it is also the constant and complete human story. At the same time, in the specificity, it becomes the universal. So to quote you to you, direct quote, it was like the world was looking for any and every way to shrink me. This is in chapter 5. And even now, I still feel the pressure. Even though my family never talked about it openly or directly, everyone in my life touted the same message. Don't be too Black or too queer, but most importantly, don't be fat. To me, it really speaks so eloquently of this double bind and actually this is something you taught me, that to be on one end, they want you literally to shrink your body, right? Become this ideal, be this thin person, and become the sort of ideal of attraction and become the center of attention. And if you can't do that, don't inhabit your body, don't feel comfortable in your body, shrink your soul in the form you have. So either shrink your soul or shrink your body or whatever, but everyone's asking you to shrink. And you defy that every single day.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm not. So and that's the other part about writing a book, right? So when you're and again, this as an author, an author, it's when you're writing it, you're in it, right? And so you're
Mm.
you're really just trying to get the story out. You're trying to make sure that the story makes sense, and you're trying to make sure that you fulfill a contract, right? And there's still heart in all of that, but I think there's still the business side of it. And then you read it back, or someone reads it back, and then you're like, oh shit, I didn't even that didn't even click to me in writing it. And so when you say that way, right, this idea of shrinking, I hadn't, until we got here, I hadn't even put that thought together about the ways of how society, right, wants me to shrink in all capacities. They want me smaller. They want me, literally, they want me smaller in any and every and single way. And I say that not even just
Mm.
me, but I think queer people abound, right? We all in some way, shape, or form have felt the pressure of the ways that the world has told us to be smaller. And that when you do embrace and I think one of the things that like I said, I revel with and I struggle a lot with is current, and especially in this climate, is how educated I am. This idea of, even with how educated I am, I'm still feeling the pressure of, you're too educated, you know too much, you speak too much, you stand too big on, whatever platform you
Hmm.
have. Please, be quiet, in a sense, and the pressure that comes with that. So
Well, I mean, it's all interesting. I know also as a writer, a lot of it is what the reader is bringing to. So I just saw all, from beginning to end in this text, this brilliant text, defying society asking you to shrink over and over. And it's also, as you alluded to, capitalism wants you to shrink. Society itself wants us to shrink. But also the gender binary wants us to shrink into something that's comprehensible for people. So talk to me about people getting uncomfortable that you are incomprehensible. Do you know what I mean? Like people that want to be safe want us to also be safe by coming after us or policing us. Do you know the dynamic I'm talking about?
yeah, yeah, wholeheartedly. And I think a big part of that dynamic that you're speaking to is respectability politics, especially in how
Mm.
prevalent they are in marginalized spaces, right? So, this idea of, and as much as I always say, everything starts back with racism, right? So when you think about, when you really go back into history and you think about what slavery was, and what slavery, in so many degrees still is, because that's kind of where we're headed.
Mm.
It's, thinking about being the enslaved person who, and this is what I've always told people, right? Why didn't they want, enslaved people to read? Is because reading and knowledge is freedom, right? So when you were the enslaved person who was too educated or too smart or to whatever, how people were basically like, you don't, one of the inside, I hate saying this, 'cause, in mixed company, but one of the inside jokes that I hear and see a lot within my friend group is, well, you don't, master's coming, be quiet. That's one of the things people talk about, this notion
Mm.
of, if you are too loud, if you're too out there, master is going to see you and you're going to get in trouble for that, right? You don't want to get in
Yeah.
trouble. And so when we start to look at that, obviously, what, 4, 5, 600 years later, it's still prevalent in this notion of, if you're black and you're, and I just say black, right? We're going to get to the other intersections in a second, but if you're black and you're, quote unquote, bringing too much attention to yourself, then you inherently are a problem, right? You're inherently the person who is shaking the table. You're inherently the person that's making everyone else uncomfortable. You are the problem. But the gag that we never talk about is, why are we not addressing the problem, right? We're so busy. I've used this analogy a lot. Chris can say something racist in the room, and I get upset that Chris says the thing that's racist, but no one talks to Chris about being not racist, right? But
Mm-hmm.
everyone's focused on me for the way I react to said racism. And so
Right.
that's kind of how the world has. And so we move that into this notion of being queer, right? when you are queer and you are outwardly queer and you're proud to be queer, you're making straight people uncomfortable per se, or you're making other gays who are not comfortable with themselves
Yes.
uncomfortable. So
Yes.
now it's time to turn that down. And so, the same thing about being fat. I think about the moments and spaces where, I've raised my hand and said, there's no chairs in here that are comfortable for me to sit in. Or, I've even, I don't know where I was recently, but someone had made, it was kind of like one of the, what it was like a writer or something, but someone was saying that all the chairs in the space had to be basically fat friendly. And I never thought about that. But I think about those moments where even in your own body where you can't shrink, the world expects you to shrink, right? I think about going to like theme parks and how theme parks don't have rides for big people
Mm.
most of the time. I think about going to movie theaters and how those seats are so, like, even the quote unquote nicer theaters, the seats are still small,
Yeah.
and so
Never.
there's all of these things, where the world, like kind of back to your point, is telling us to shrink, telling us to be less of the problem instead of actually actualizing what the problem is. And that's equity, and that's access, and that's liberty, right? Liberation. And those are the things that I'm constantly, I feel like, yelling from the top of, was it not Mount Sinai, but what is it, way up there that all the people have to climb, and most of the people
Everest.
don't ever, Mount Everest. Yeah, I feel like I'll be at the top of Mount Everest, child,
Screaming.
shivering in the cold, screaming, but that's really what it comes down to. Hmm.
Okay. And it feels like that sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tell me about the cover of the book, because it is black period, fat period, femme period. Like no comma, no ellipses. This is it. Period. This is it.
Yeah, so I think the cover in itself was a very intentional um take for me personally. So when I sold the book, I had all these things in mind for what the book was, what the book was going to be, and what the story was in it. And initially what the book was supposed to be titled was No Black, No Fat, No Femme, and it was supposed to be a play on a lot of
Mm.
the stuff we see in popular queer culture, right? And for those of you who are of a particular age and who has read the book, I talk a lot about the apps and
Yep.
what my journey to finding myself and finding love was on the apps. And one of the big things was the No Black, No Fat, No Femme. And so as we finished the book and as we were getting towards publication, my editor came back to me and said, I feel like if we drop the no and we just add periods, it would make a stronger point. And I said, you're the editor, you sell these books, so and so we went with that. But the other part that I thought was really cool, there were all these designs that had come through for what my cover was going to look like. And then one of the, there were two editors who helped make this book become what it was, both Gabby and Leah. Gabby had come back with a note, from one of the people who was designing the inside cover, and they said, what if we put you on the front of it? And they were like, what are your thoughts about that? And there was a part of me that was like, ooh, I don't know. I don't really, and Gabby's take on me being on the cover of the book was, it's a statement without it being a statement, right? Most queer Black people, they rarely ever get to be on the cover of something, showing who they are and
Mm-hmm.
celebrating who they are.
It's a great
Um,
image.
and
Great picture.
yeah, it's so one of my favorite pictures, and it just it all of it ended up becoming kind of a larger take on I'm taking up space, I'm visible, title kind of slaps you in the face, and it is very much like all of it is very intentional. So,
I'm not shrinking. I'm not shrinking.
nope.
So I was listening to a history podcast recently it was actually about lettuce, but the family's money had come through slavery and through owning other human beings. And the great grandfather, whoever was, in the family during the Civil War, had decided and literally written down in his will who would be freed and who wouldn't be.
Wow.
In his, the human beings that he owned. And literally, the will itself talked about who was acceptable and who wasn't.
Mm.
Who was towing the line, who wasn't, who was quote unquote prepared to be free and who wasn't.
Right.
And so this idea of getting in trouble when we are too much for other people or for the power structures.
Yeah.
The other theme that runs through all of your work and that I find so, brilliant about you is that it's not just the fear of being too much. It's the fear that we're fundamentally not enough.
Real.
At the same time.
Yeah.
So it's a getting of us coming and going.
Yeah.
That weighs so heavily on everyone.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And another thing you brought up, and I hear other creators talk about this all the time, other people in the industry, queer people. 2023 was like the fall off the cliff. That was Bud Light summer.
Yeah.
2024, worse. And here we are in 2025. And, as far as like pride opportunities or gigs, even financial, like it's like a 10th of what it was in the before times.
Right.
So can you talk more about how the industry attempts to shut us out and how we're doing an end run around that?
Yeah. One of the things I think I've been thinking a lot, thinking / trying to speak about, is this idea of there being a lot of people so I'll frame it this way. I think it's important to understand why folks don't want to work with us and why folks don't want us in the room. Yes, there's a whole plethora of people who are coming after queer and trans people. I want to name that is a thing. There is a system that is coming after us. I want to name that. But I also think, and this is something I've been sitting and I've been watching, there is a power dynamic that's happening. And that's something we have to kind of like name within oppressive systems, right? We have to name that there are people who are in power that to a certain degree, we're starting to be held accountable for the things that they said and did and didn't do. And this idea of, and then I'm gonna take it one step further, and then I'll kind of wrap it with the bow. They were starting to be held accountable for what they were doing and weren't doing. And basically the fire got too hot for them. So what's the easiest way for them to not take accountability? Is to shut us out, right? To say, oh, if I have to use pronouns and if I have to get people's genders right, and if I have to be nice to queer people because I already have this inherent idea that they're beneath me, I don't want them working with me. So what's the easiest thing to do? Let's not give them jobs. Let's not give them work. I don't want to work with them. I don't want to be in the same space. I don't want to have to deal with the repercussions of being a better human, right? And there's something to be said.
Wait. I know you're right in the middle of a sentence. I don't want to have to deal with the repercussions of being a better human.
Right. Like I don't want to have to. Right. Because so much of, and this is the thing you have to understand. So much. I always tell people it's expensive to do the right thing. It's expensive, right? And what I mean by that is by saying, okay, if it costs, I'm gonna just throw it out there. If it costs, I'm not gonna say them because you can cut this. I technically may have a deal with them coming down the pipeline, so I'm not gonna name them. It was if Paramount, we'll say Paramount because I haven't done anything with Paramount. If Paramount is only having to pay out $1 million per year for this one terrible exec to be there and them never having to pay any other additional money out, they're okay with that, right? Then saying, I'm going to fire this $1 million exec and bring in 2, 3, 4 other people who are going to help. Because what's going to happen is when those 2 or 3 other people enter the room, they're going to start seeing all the cracks in our system and they're going to start naming it. And guess what's going to happen? I now have to hire more people to fix those cracks. And I have to also hire more people to be in HR. I have to hire more people. So again, doing the right thing is expensive. And that's why, and this is just my take on it, right? That's why so many people are awful. Because it's cheaper to be terrible because capitalism makes it that way. And that's the thing I kind of had to just accept is that yes, it's me, right? Like being Black and outwardly queer and being proud of those things, one, not only makes me a target, but it also makes it easy for people to like cross me off of a list. But I also had to remind myself of like, is this a space I even really want to work in anyway? And I see friends. I have friends who are getting signed, and I have friends who've gotten deals, and I have friends who are going off to do things. And yay, I applaud them, and I'm glad that their life is working out the way that they want it to. But I think for me, at my big age of 40, I think I've really gotten to a place where I've said, I don't want to be in a system. I don't want to be in an oppressive system just to say I'm in an oppressive system. I really want to be working around people who genuinely want to be around me. I want to work with people, and that's the reason why shout out. I'll say this, shout out to my team over at iHeart, because they don't censure me, if that makes sense, right?
Mm.
They allow me to be the black fat femme girl. They celebrate the idea of me being different and me being loud and and verbose about injustice, right? Those are the things that I want. I think we really have to ask ourselves, what are we willing to give away for a check? And I've been on both sides of it. I've been paid very well to be told, keep quiet. And I've also, I wouldn't say I'm broke now, but I would say like, the deals have dried up for me because I've standed in who I am in a place
Yep.
of the world telling me not to right now in this moment. And I'm okay with that, right? I'm okay with that because I'm a true believer that if there's a will, there's a way, and there always is going to be a way for Dr. Jon Paul, right? But I definitely want people to hear this and to think about that, right? Like, what we're seeing is intentional. It's to make us feel the quote unquote, again, and the only thing I can keep going back to is slavery and enslavement. It's the whip, right? What we're
Mm.
feeling as Black, as queer, as Latinx, as we're feeling the whip. We are feeling all of the people who are pushing back and have actively stood on business per se and said, I'm going to be who I am, and I'm not going to be quiet. They are ultimately the ones that are feeling what's going on right now in this world.
Yeah, it's expensive to be decent. It's expensive to be good. It's expensive to do the right thing for a lot of folks who are in the industry. And I'm glad you did wrap it up with a bow the way you did. When you first started talking, I thought you were talking about Black people in the industry. And you made it, it's also about queer people, right? And these other dynamics. But there, tell me about the golden age. Now we've transitioned out. There was the work BLM had done, and, the teaching of allies how to be decent. And there was this huge enthusiasm, and now the pendulum has swung elsewhere. And so what work do we do?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I've been sitting with that. I think when you ask what work can be done, I think we have to be mindful. And I say this for everybody. It's not just a Black thing. It's not just a queer thing. It's anybody who I think is a good, who ideally has. And so, and it's hard because, right, ethically, what's a good person versus what's a bad person? Who knows, right? Khan spent his whole life trying to figure that out. And I don't know if you know who Khan is, but he's a theorist. And so,
Yes.
I'm not saying for you, but I'm saying for our listeners, for folks who don't know who Khan is, they are a theorist who was very big on, ethics of what's right and what's wrong. And so, I think for me, I think the thing that I want folks to sit with, or I need folks to kind of like hear, and whether it be from me or from someone else, is this idea that there's so much more better. There's so much good in life when you are good to other people. And I think that there's so many people who live in this hive mind of, I just got to worry about me and I got to worry about mine. And as long as I'm getting mine, that's all that matters. And I understand where some of that comes from, especially in Black spaces, right? With a lot of Black spaces, folks are very much in the mind of, I grew up poor, I grew up this, I grew up that. Like, I don't ever want to go back to that. So I gotta worry about me. All I can do is worry about me. And I'm like, I get that. But I think there's something to be said about this notion of how much better life is when everyone around you is good, when everyone else around you is happy, when everyone else around you is wants to be around you and wants to be in spaces with you. And that's the thing that I aspire to, right? Yes, the followers are cute. Yes, the check is great. But I think for me, what really makes me happy is when people say, you just make me feel good. And you make me want to live, and you make me want to laugh, and you make me want to be happy. And I think that's the thing we're seeing, is we're seeing the system see our joy and is doing whatever it can to stamp it out. But I also will add this piece that a lot of what we're seeing is we're watching a lot of people who live in emotional prisons, and they can't fathom what it's like to, like I said earlier, be a good person, or to like themselves, or to like other people,
Or to have joy.
or to have joy, right? To have something to look forward to, and to be loved without, without limitations. And I think that's the thing I see in so many, when, I think about, all of these, a lot of these politicians, like, so I'm going to go here. When we think about politicians, specifically the right, and when they go to these conventions, and, the whole thing is anytime there's a, Republican convention, Grinder crashes. Okay.
Yes.
Follow me here. Right. Grinder crashes, or Growler crashes, or Sniffies will crash, whatever. Right. All of these different hookup apps. And while people will go on and on and on and on about the folks hiding in the closet, and you just need to be this, you need to be out, you need to be yourself, blah, blah, blah. Okay. But what we're really not talking about is the fear that these men have of being their authentic selves in real life, being who they really want to be in real life. And so we've created that in so many different spaces, in so many different ways. We've created so many oppressive systems that tell people that they have to hide, that they shouldn't say what's on their mind, that they shouldn't speak from a place of truth, that they shouldn't love who they want to love, right? And it's sad. It's a really sad place. And so when I see folks coming after trans people, when I see people coming after Black trans people, I sit with this notion of, yeah, it's a system and it's working and everything is happening the way that it's happening. But I'm also looking at a lot of sad people who genuinely will never know what joy is. And that's the problem folks have with me when I walk into a room. Who are you to love yourself so much? Who are you to be proud of yourself? Who are you to go through all that you've gone through in your life and to still wake up and say, I deserve it all?
Right. Not just I deserve it all, in many ways I have it all. If I have me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think to many people, you correct me if I'm going in the wrong direction. The title of the book and the podcast, Black Fat Femme, to many people that there's 3 reasons why you should hate yourself. To them. And you walk into a room and you're like, oh, quite the opposite. This is a list of why I adore myself. Why I'm here for this. Why I'm in love with this being. And many people feel the need to destroy that because they'll never be able to touch it.
They'll never be able to feel it.
Know it, comprehend it, have it. Yeah. All of the above. Get anywhere near it. Okay, so 2 stories. I was at a conference. Someone I knew was a celebrity and got me a meeting with a major agency. So I was at a conference table in an agency, and an agent looked me dead in the face. This was 2017, and said, I don't get it. What the fuck are you? In the meeting.
Wow.
And so in the moment, I was like, well, that's information about who I do and don't want to work with. But also, you sort of alluded to this, the messages that I get. Okay, so you said you're 40. You're literally 40 right now.
I will be 40 in 2 weeks, yes.
Mm-hmm. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. I have a few years on you. I'm 48. And to this day, the messages that I love receiving the most are, you saved my life. When I was in middle school, I saw your vines, etc. Right? And I was going to leave, and now I'm going to stick around. because I see that possibility of actually loving yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so in a way, I don't know if you can relate to this. In a way, I feel lucky. Because in times like this, that being crystal clear to me just sustains me through these times.
It does. It does. And I tell people daily that it can't, you know, the money and all the other stuff. Yeah, that's necessity, right? We all got to eat. But I think for me, when I'm somewhere, you know, I know that we just got, but I will say, like, I had a moment recently. It was a very short blip of a moment. I was in Bevmo buying something. People know I don't drink. I was buying a gift for a friend for her birthday, and I kept seeing the cashier. I don't know if you get this too. I kept seeing the cashier look at me, and I was like, "What are they staring at? Like, what do you want? Like, I don't like." Girl, I'm here to shop. What are you staring at? And as soon as I asked them, I said, "Hey, I need to find this thing." It was locked. Long story short, the cashier came over. They were like, I got it. And they came over to me and they said, "I know I've been staring at you. I just wanted you to know I know who you are. I have your book. I support everything you do. I think you are absolutely amazing." And I've never, in their mind, they were like, "I never thought in my wildest dreams that you would ever be in here."
Walk into the Bevmo. Walk into my
Right.
Bevmo.
And it was just a simple moment. But it's that kind of stuff that I live for, right? This idea of someone seeing you and saying, because you are who you are, I am who I am. And I think that that's the thing that this administration, that this world is trying to put out, because everyone is starting to see each other. This new generation of babies, they recognize that the elders are still here. You know, in our world, when we were growing up, our elders weren't, right? We didn't see elders like us. Very rarely did we, right? We knew of them, but we didn't see them. And now we're living and we have homes and we have dogs, we have cats, we have children, we drive nice cars, you know, sometimes we drive a clunker.
Relationships,
We're here. And I think that's the thing the world fears, is that the thing that they thought they could bury is now planting, that notion of, they thought they could bury us, but we were the seeds. We literally are the seeds that are helping other babies sprout. And I think that's the thing that brings me the most joy.
That's representation. That's, to me, the beauty, the charm, and the brilliance of all of your work. So tell us, last thing, what world are you building right now? What's happening? Tell me.
I mean, beyond the push around the pod, Black Fat Femme Pod will always be my heart, my baby. Please listen. We drop every Tuesday, wherever you get your pods. The other thing,
truly excellent. I mean, it's a home. I didn't want to interrupt you, but I mean, the best pod in the podosphere.
The book is only 3 months out. Go get the book. There are some other things coming down the pipelines. I'm doing some consulting work on some stuff, on the back end. And a second book is, in the pipeline. I told myself there's a few things that I need to get after. This about touring. After you tour, your home life is all over the place. So I told myself, I said, I'll give myself the month of July, celebrate the birthday. And then August, I will start to go back to writing the outline for my second book. So that's kind of what's coming. There is another book in the canon that I feel like I have the energy and the space and the urgency right now to write, because I think it's going to be something that really helps, both from an academic and from obviously a media critic standpoint for those who really truly need it. So yeah.
Okay, well, I said that was last, but it's not last. Word got to me, because I'm such a follower and fan of yours and love you so much. Word got to me that someone, what really excited me, someone used you as a reference to come out with, said to their family and friends, "I'm like Dr. Jon." And so to me, the essence of what you represent is that self-kindness, that self-affirmation. And I wish sincerely, I'm going to cry, and I should. It's 2025. Let's go. Let's go for it. You know, the power in who you are and what you do in all of these spaces is giving people the chance to say, I'll phrase it this way. I wish everyone would say, I'm like Dr. Jon. What a world, what a better world it would be. You give people the space. Oh, here's another one. You reflect for people what needs healing. And for some people, that's a really ugly process for them. For some people, joy, delight, they love it. Some people, resistance. And in the midst of all of that, you stay true to you and you keep going. A very rare thing in this world. So, thank you.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for those beautiful sentiments. Very timely and necessary. I don't always, I will say this, one of my love languages is affirmation. And so I don't always get affirmation, especially in this line of work. I tell people all the time, entertainment is a very affirmationless industry. It is,
I can confirm that.
It's very ugly, honey. And so you're doing a lot of work without a lot of thank yous and a lot of, and so when you do meet someone or you do connect with someone and you're told what your impact is, it means a lot. So I just want to say, I thank you. I thank you for seeing me. I thank you for always being, and I also want to say this on the air, what you all see and hear from Jeffrey is real. Like there are people out here who are very industry and will purport themselves to be nice and kind and supportive and loving. And then the camera goes off and you're like, you are a terrible person. I want to say, like, I have had Jeffrey, ask me, how are things? What do you need? What are you doing? What's going on? Is there any way I can support you? Like, it's a real thing. And so I want to say to you, back to you, like, with the camera on or not, or with the recording or not, thank you for making this world a better place for so many people. Especially in a time, and now I'm ready to cry, especially in a time where we all feel like we're, people got their foot on our necks, and it's hard. It's hard to feel like the stuff you're doing, it matters, because the world's doing whatever it can to erase it. And when I see people reshare your stuff, or when I bring you up in, I think, I have to say this on the air, the moment of me taking my youth to the summit that we were at a couple of months ago. And when they found out I knew you, how they lost their shit, right? That is what I live for. I live for moments like that, because, even like I said, in the midst of all of this, it's so nice to know that folks like you exist. So, yeah.
Well, we're lucky to have each other. How about that?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Love you lots. We'll talk soon. I'm crying. Are you crying?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going through a lot this week. You know this. I think the listeners will find out next week or sometime. Very, very difficult for me in the best way.
Yeah, and sometimes that's, sometimes we go through difficult. Sometimes we go through, I committed to this and it's difficult, and we find love as well. Love for ourselves. So you have trivia, though. Trivia.
I do.
I'm wearing my polka dots, my trivia polka dots.
So our trivia question is, are you ready?
Yeah. Yes. Lay it on me.
Is before Kate Spade's death, how many items had polka dots on them? No, I'm kidding. Rest in peace, Kate. Rest in peace, Kate.
I was right there. I was like, 50%.
I actually had Kate Spade stock.
You did?
I did, because my dad was like, is this I don't want to take away from the episode, because my dad was like, you should trade on the stock market because that's the only way to make your money make money.
That's the one you bought.
And little Zach was like, you mean Kate Spade? Like, you mean Kate Spade? And
What's
Target.
the ticker? What's the ticker?
I sold it a long time. Oh, KSPD. I don't know.
Yeah. It
That
wasn't
sounds
her
like
thing though. Polka dots or all black and white stuff, but with pink.
Oh,
accent?
I actually do love it. I have a laptop bag right now. Like, they still make stuff. She doesn't live anymore, but they still make stuff.
Let's go. Let's go
to the Spade store. Well, your real trivia question is,
Yes, please.
according to GLAAD, right? GLAAD, their 2023 report, what percentage of series regular characters on broadcast TV were LGBTQ plus on the alphabet spectrum?
For 2023.
For 2023, which we referenced in the interview, is actually the golden years.
Part of still. well, 2023 actually was Bud Light summer, so the summertime wasn't so great in 2023, but we were still on the tail end of some okay vibes until it all went south. But regardless, GLAAD, for people who don't know, is an LGBTQ advocacy organization, and they do an annual report. I know they do one on schools, but also this is the media report that you're referencing. And the question one more time was,
what percentage of series regular characters on broadcast TV were LGBTQ plus? Or
what percentage
2S
of series
LGBTQIA plus,
regular?
depending.
Okay, so you're a TV star. People can look up your IMDb. You're a TV star. Series regular refers to just the star, right? Just the singular star person.
If you're a series regular, that means you are recurring in every episode. Like a series regular is one of the leads from Friends or one of the leads from Seinfeld, like you're in Modern Family, whatever, you're in every episode. That's a series regular.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so how many were LGBTQ? Okay, well, Modern Family was still on the air in 2023.
No.
I am so bad at pop culture. Let me say 10%. Let's take the supposed range of LGBTQ people in broader culture, and let's say TV really did it. Thumbs up, TV, you really did it. You represented us exactly. We'll see the answer later in this episode, friends. It's time for some advertisements. And I want you to listen. I want you to click. I want you to purchase. I want you to do whatever the CTA is in this ad. And then I want you to come back, because when we come back, one of my favorite things to do, we have our community question. And I love you all. Talk to you after the ads.
Hey everyone, it's your BFF John, also known as Dr. Jon Paul.
And Jordan, also known as Joho, from the one and only award-winning show,
The Black Fat Femme Podcast.
And we are here to tell you that if you're not listening to our show, then you're missing out, girl. With guests like T.S. Madison.
Listen, honey, is it on? Is it on? Is this bitch recording?
To Mayhem Miller from RuPaul's Drag Race.
You talking about flowers? You just gave me a full bouquet.
We are celebrating the intersections of identity in a bold new way.
Listen to iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
I know that's right.
And we're back. I should do TV. I'm so good at that.
Some say the podcast is the pipeline to the visual. You never know.
Oh, the pipeline. I thought you were going to say is basically, it's all mushed up these days.
Well, that's true too. Yeah.
This
YouTube
is basically
TV.
my childhood dream of, having a community and a show. But I could do like the person with headphones who counts you in like 5, 4, 3, 2, point.
I did it.
And we're back. Okay, community question. Lay
Fantastic.
It on me, I'm ready.
Fantastic. Our community question. Should we pause for siren? I mean, I'm in the middle of New York City.
I love it. It's like an episode of Law and Order.
I think it adds atmosphere. It doesn't detract, and my mic might be good enough to filter out. So let's trudge. Let's trudge.
Okay, I love it.
from someone in the Discord group who this week they're anonymous. Sometimes they tell us their screen name. Sometimes they're anonymous. I see more queer and trans people in the media now, but it still feels like we're only allowed to exist in certain ways. How do I stop feeling erased when I'm not what they want to see?
Wow. Okay. Well, this is a little something I know a little bit about. Because I told the story about in the in the interview about being at that agency. You know, I'm an odd one. I'm a confusing one because I got facial hair. You know, if the vibes were ever going to be like, I don't get it, you look like a man, you know, and I'm not mocking anybody. I just happen to be one of the ultra queers who's confusing, you know, who's on the edge. At least I'm, you know, not being binary and all of that sort of stuff. And I bring that up not to say that means anything particularly, except there are very few people like me on TV. And I don't know, is it to say us, Zach? Very few people like us on TV.
Yeah, and I think you hit the head on the head. The head on the head. Gee, wow!
I'm gonna knock heads.
You hit the nail on the head with the facial hair and with like. And my agent has even said this to me before. Which Stephanie, I think you're great. I'm not talking smack. Where she's like she asks me all the time, "Are you transitioning? Are you medically transitioning? Because otherwise, I don't know what to do with you. Like I'm only interested in playing femme NB stuff at this point, you know, but I'm not medically aligned with what they expect of a trans applicant or a trans actress, trans actor. And so they literally don't know what to do with me, which is the same thing that you experience too. So I don't know where we fit. The non-medical, the non-med trans people, the non-passing, there is not a space for us yet. And I hope that changes, but I have no proof to the contrary.
Yes.
You know?
It's so wonderful we're talking about representation today. I love our community. Love our community. Oh, you want to say what the community is? We're going to just slide it right in.
Yeah, Jeffrey's Safe Space. Jeffrey's Safe Space is our online community where you could go on jeffreymarsh.com. Right on the top, you know, you can click Jeffrey Marsh's Safe Space. It'll bring you to the page where you can join the community, and you get to join the Discord with some phenomenal people in there. It's really been bopping. Hasn't it been like earnestly bopping?
You know what they just did was like book recommendations.
Right. They just
really good lists.
Yeah, they just sent each other like book recommendations. Yeah. Queer Smut is somebody's high horse. And so they were like doing that together.
Get in there.
I know, as I'm reading like 90s heteronormative fantasy. But you know, everybody has their own
But back to our question about representation. I think, can you directly quote, what do I do when I don't see myself represented?
Oh, how do I stop feeling erased? How do I stop feeling erased when I'm not what they want to see?
I think that feeling, okay, so let me actually give an answer. I think that feeling will never go away. It has never gone away from me. And our best bet is to work with that feeling by creating the spaces we wish to belong to. I am doing this podcast so that someone like me has somewhere to be and is on camera and is representing and is helping in any way that I possibly can. If some executive doesn't see it, can't see it, won't see it, and Dr. John and I talked about that. John and I talked about that a lot. You know, if they won't see it, I'm going to create the space in the time. And we'll hope that society catches that. Love you, community. I think you're really wonderful. Everybody get in that Discord. We'd love to see you. Some advertisements for your excitingness. And you know, when it's a creator you love, listen, click. Go do the things the ad wants you to do. Thanks. I'm trying this thing where I hold the mic if people see the video. If you go look up the YouTube and I like wave it around. It makes me feel like Miss America.
I'm thrilled you love it. It might be a nightmare for the people only listening.
because my voice keeps going out. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, and maybe a nightmare for your editor too, my love.
Whomstever that may be. Okay, trivia answer. Review the question. Let's see if I was right at 10%.
No, for sure. Okay. Zach reveals is what the outline says. According to GLAAD's 2023 report, ready? The question. I'm sorry. The question is what percentage of series regular characters on broadcast TV were LGBTQ+? Yes. The answer is 11.6% of series regulars on broadcast TV were LGBTQ+, were alphabet humans.
That's it. It's solved. There's no more hatred in the world. We just did it.
There's no more room to grow. There's no more room to 11.6 is the most we could possibly hope for, right?
Absolute max. Maxed out. We joke, we kid. That was obviously better than I thought. I thought I was wrong at 10%. So to find that is truly a delight. We have a tradition here with our outros where I give you your reminders. Then I take you into a little safe space of our making here. And there's something special I want to tell you, but I'll save it for a few minutes from now. Cliffhanger. So here are the things you need to remember. Representation, as we've been talking about it, is not the start. Sorry. Representation is the start, not the end. So representation is the start, not the end. Representation is the pathway toward full equity, full integration, full kindness, full love, full respect. And being able to see it is also a lesson for people who are gatekeepers, ultimately. So don't ever shrink. If I could just give you, advice as an influencer, don't ever shrink yourself down into what's marketable, because you'll end up just being unhappy. Honestly, be who you are and not who they have wrapped their marketing budget around. You'll end up happier. Visibility without power is almost meaningless. We like it, we love it, but you're not just giving LGBTQ people or anybody visibility if you're in a position of power. You are giving some of your power to that person. That is true equity. That is lifting people up. And lastly, you listening to this in one way or another, you are the proof that someone else needs so that they can keep going. Don't forget how important your visibility is. Close your eyes, please. Take 3 deep breaths. If you're not in a place where you can close your eyes, that's fine. You can still play along by drawing your attention inward. And as you get closer to that third breath, as you take that third breath, make it the biggest breath of your day, maybe of your week. You could sigh. Ooh, I used to teach yoga and I would tell people H-A, ha, on the exhale. It's okay to pick up space. It's okay to bring your safety with you. Let's take a breath together. Exhale. Think of breathing in the kindness, the love, all the love in the universe. Let it fill you up all the way to the top. Stay there. Feel what it's like to be full. And exhale. Great. Open your eyes. Have your day. Love and respect yourself. We'll see you next time. Mwah! This has been Inner Voice with Jeffrey Marsh. Today's episode was produced by Zach Latino. If you're ready to go deeper, transform your life, and experience personalized support, my one-on-one coaching sessions can be applied for at jeffreymarsh.com. Know someone perfect for Inner Voice? Send them our way. Have them visit jeffreymarsh.com to sign up for our exclusive online community, and we'll reach out if their inquiry aligns with an upcoming episode. Remember, you are worthy exactly as you are. See you next time.